Chapter 8. Kindling your inner fire. Trust yourself. Create the kind of life you will be happy to live with all your life. Make the most of yourself by fanning the tiny inner sparks of possibility into the flames of achievement. Foster C. McLean. The day that Yogi Raman shared his mystical little fable with me high atop the Himalayas was actually quite similar to this day in many respects, said Julian. Really, our meeting began in the evening and carried on well into the night. There was such a chemistry between the two of us that the air seemed to crackle with electricity, as I mentioned to you earlier. From the first moment I met Raman, I felt as if he was the brother I never had. Tonight, sitting here with you and enjoying the look of intrigue on your face, I feel the same energy and bond. I will also tell you that I have always thought of you as my little brother since we became friends. I will tell you the truth, I saw a lot of myself in you. You were an amazing litigator, Julian. I will never forget your effectiveness. It was obvious that he had no interest in exploring the museum of his past. John, I would like to continue to share the elements of Yogi Raman's fable with you, but before I do this, I must confirm something. Already you have learned a number of highly effective strategies for personal change which will do wonders for you if you apply them consistently. I will open my heart to you tonight and reveal everything I know. As it is my duty to do, I just want to make sure that you fully understand how important it is that you in turn pass this wisdom on to all those who are searching for good guidance. We are living in a very troubled world. Negativity pervades it, and many in our society are floating like ships without rudders, weary souls searching for a lighthouse that will keep them from crashing against the rocky shores. You must serve as a captain of Source, I am placing my trust in you to take the message of the sages of Sivana to all those who need it. After consideration, I promised Julian with conviction that I would accept this assignment. He then continued passionately. The beauty of the whole exercise is that as you strive to improve the lives of others, your own life will be elevated into its highest dimensions. This truth is based on an ancient paradigm for extraordinary living. I am all ears. Basically, the sages of the Himalayas guided their lives by a simple rule: he who serves the most reaps the most. Emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually, this is the way to inner peace and outer fulfillment. I once read that people who study others are wise, but those who study themselves are enlightened. Here, perhaps for the first time, I saw a man who truly knew himself, perhaps his highest self, in his austere clothing with the half smile of a youthful Buddha gracing his supple face. Julian Manuel appeared to have it all: ideal health, happiness, and an overriding sense of his role in the kaleidoscope of the universe. Yet he owned nothing. This brings me to the lighthouse, said Julian, remaining focused on the task at hand. I was wondering how that fit into Yogi Raman's fable. I tried to explain, he responded, sounding more like a well-schooled professor than a lawyer turned monk who had renounced the sensual world. You have now learned that the mind is like a fertile garden, and for it to flourish, You must nurture it daily. Never let the weeds of impure thought and action take the garden of your mind. Stand guard at the gateway of your mind. Keep it healthy and strong. It will work miracles in your life if you will only let it. You will recall that in the middle of the garden stood a magnificent lighthouse. This symbol will remind you of yet another ancient principle for enlightened living. The purpose of life is a life of purpose. Those who are truly enlightened know what they want out of life. Emotionally, materially, physically, and spiritually, clearly defined priorities and goals for every aspect of your life will serve a role similar to that played by a lighthouse, offering you guidance and refuge when the seas become rough. You see, John, anyone can revolutionize their lives once they revolutionize the direction in which they are moving. But if you don't even know where you are going, how will you ever know when you get there? Julian transported me back to the time when Yogi Raman examined this principle with him. He recalled the sage's exact words, "Life is funny," observed Yogi Raman. One would think that the less one worked, the more one would have the chance to experience happiness. However, the real source of happiness can be stated in a word: achievement. Lasting happiness comes from steadily working to accomplish your goals and advancing confidently in the direction of your life's purpose. This is the secret to kindling the inner fire that lurks within you. I do understand that it might seem more than a little ironic that you have traveled thousands of miles from your achievement-oriented society to speak to a cluster of mystical sages living high in the Himalayas, only to learn that another eternal secret of happiness can be found in achievement. But it is true. Workaholic monks, I suggested playfully. Quite the opposite. While the sages were tremendously productive people, their productivity was not of the frenetic type. Instead, it was of the peaceful, focused, Zen-like kind. How so? Everything they did had a purpose. Though they were removed from the modern world and lived a highly spiritual existence, they were also highly effective. Some spent their days polishing off philosophical treatises. Others created fabulous, richly textured poems which challenged their intellect and renewed their creativity. Still others passed their time in the silence of total contemplation, looking like illuminated statues seated in the ancient lotus pose. The sages of Sivana did not waste time. Their collective conscience told them that their lives had a purpose and they had a duty to fulfill. This is what Yogi Raman said to me here in Sivana, where time appears to stand still. You might wonder what a group of simple possessionless sages would ever need or hope to achieve. But achievement need to be of the material sort. Personally, my objectives are to attain peace of mind, self-mastery and enlightenment. If I fail to accomplish these goals by the end of my life, I am certain that I will die feeling unfulfilled and dissatisfied. Julian told me that was the first time he had heard any of his teachers in Sivana speak of their own mortality. No plans for quick exit. My point is simply that when you clearly know what aims you wish to achieve over the course of your life, be they material, emotional, physical or spiritual, and you spend your days accomplishing them, you will ultimately find eternal joy. Your life will be as delightful as mine and you will come to know a splendid reality, but you must know your life's aim and then manifest this vision into reality by consistent action. We sages call this dharma, which is the Sanskrit word. Chapter 8. Kindling your inner fire. Trust yourself. Create the kind of life